That's crazy. Hello? What is going on? Hello? Hi chat! How are you? Hi Giuseppe! Hi Octo Eat Squad! Giuseppe, congrats on getting first! Oh Mar. Wait a second. This isn't the form oops, sorry. This isn't the form I'm supposed to have yet. Hold on. You guys are not ready for this yet. Not yet. How are you guys doing? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Let me just get my regular form out. There we go! Yay! Lost World 7 battle theme. Ooh, yes. Depu is no Dino Shiki. Hi, custom reports. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Invader Supercell. Forgot the fourth one. Oh yeah, all of the Lost World 7 songs are super, super good. So, will the sacrifices continue? If Eat Squat has anything to say about it, yes. If we're asking Topilsin, he'll say no, but you know, what can he do about it, right? And then on the YouTube side, Age of Spectacle, what a wonderful OST. I'm glad you like it. It's such a FGO just has amazing OST in general. You know, the music reminds me of that TikTok trend where the whole comment section is pretending they're cooking for No, I haven't seen that trend. What? FGO? I need to know whether FGO will trend one day as a TikTok. Has FGO ever trended as a TikTok? Now I'm curious. Let's see. Just made a time for stream. Yay! But then again, archetype art was all needed. I was out donating blood. It was taking forever to wait for people ahead of me. Oh, well, how did that go? Guys, I'm so terrified of donating blood because every single time I've gotten poked to get blood drawn, I've almost fainted twice. So, I don't think I'm the best candidate. But honestly, Iron Mouse inspired me to donate plasma, which I still have to get poked. But like, at least I know for sure that it is in dire need. Also Roto El Dorado takes place around the Mayan area because some tweets and stuff like that. I see that tweet coming back and I'm like, oh god, no. I remember I got destroyed because all I said, chat, was like, it's a pet peeve that Shell is referred to as a Latina. She's not a Latina. And then people got offended for that. So I see it coming back and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. We're not gonna say anything. I'm not ready. I am not ready. Oh god. I will try to finish Witch on the Holy Night. Oh, congratulations. Good luck. Oh, my bad for oversharing. Just feeling a little out of it right now. Oh my gosh. I hope you feel better. Yeah, getting blood taken out is no fun. But I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you're donating. Let's see. Fate, Hello Ataraxia, Mahoyo, and also Cyberco 77. Ooh, it's all good. We'll try to finish Witch on the Holy Night. Crazy. I was crazy once. New model scene. Oh, what? New model? What are you talking about? You guys didn't see anything. They locked me in a room. A rubber room. Hell yeah, to see models be like, hi Chaya, hi custom reports, hi Mayan guy, how are you? Welcome. Most FGO tracks are a go. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh, where's my bottle? I need to find it. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have returned, and I have my water. Thank you for the hydrate. false transmigration of the soul is a great one. It's an related tweet, in fact. It was just a psyop or something. Yeah, I remember that one. Like I said, I remember it because I was destroyed. I was destroyed because of it. Is the cheese cheesy? It's always cheesy. It's so good. I love cheese. I love cheese. Can't wait to see the goddess soon. I know it's very soon. I mean, you saw a teeny tiny piece of it just now, but you guys aren't ready to see the full form. Hello Chaya, hi kind of quick, how are you? Welcome. I demand hugs. Hugs! Here they go. Hugs, come here. Come here. Come here. Give me a hug now, Baka. Give me a hug now. Go on. Go on, cuddle up tight. There. I like the smell of your shampoo. Delicious. Makes me want to eat you right up. But it's okay. I will hold back. I will hold back for today. Thanks, Chai. They took out more blood than they should have too. Oh, no. Yeah, no wonder you feel a little out of it. I mean, okay, well, I have received your hugs. How long is Walter White lasting against the Italian Mafia from Fate? I have no idea. Who is Walter White? False Travis also gets false reincarnation. Chai, have you seen Peacemaker? Wait, I think I have seen Peacemaker. Yeah, I have. It's pretty brutal, but funny. The needle got moved when it was returning my blood, so I got out of the vein and they had to stop the process. At least I got to finish the donation, though I just couldn't get some blood back. That terrifies me. Like I said, me and needles, I'm okay with needles when they're inserting stuff in me. Like if I'm getting a vaccination, that's like fine, you know, I don't mind getting poked. But as soon as they're like trying to find my vein and draw out blood, it's just it makes me want to cry. And I'm gonna get blood drawn soon too, because I have to get a physical exam, the annual physical exam, to make sure I'm not dying. Yeah, but like I said, I almost fainted twice with getting blood drawn. And then, oh, but what has helped me actually is thinking about Kamazats. So when I go to get my blood drawn, I think about Kamazats, and I just think that he's biting into me and drawing my blood. So that helps a little bit. Are you getting mad you don't know Walter White? No, now I do. I mean, now that you mentioned it, but I don't think I ever watched Breaking Bad. Chaya is a cannibal convert shampoo's flavoring. Hypothetically, I went back in time, gave the USSR some high tech for funsies, then go back further in time, give medieval knight heavy weapon. Ooh, that's cool. Good for them. Have you seen the new Peacemaker episode? No, I haven't seen the new episodes. I think I watched like season 1 or something. I don't know. Then go further back and plant a nuke on Victorian England. Lol. Okay, well, today, as you guys have seen in the announcement, today we will be talking about the Aztec Triple Alianza. And we talked about this like a few months back. I initially thought I did it in August, but then I looked at the stream or at the posting date and it was actually in June. So I was like, whoa, that's a long time. And guys, that stream that I did a long time ago, because I did it because I was like, what's a good topic to talk about? And I was like, oh, the Triple Alliance is pretty interesting. Like, I read about it in the Fifth Sun, and like I enjoyed it, so it's like we're gonna talk about that. I didn't know it was gonna launch a new hyperfixation. It launched a new hyperfixation, and that hyperfixation is its squad. And so yeah, this new revamped version, we have more Yeah, we have more content to cover. I was looking back at the first video I did, and it was I messed up a few things. Mainly it had to do with the Mashika family tree, so I kind of messed that up. It's not wrong, but it is it could have been worded better. So I hope to fix that in this new presentation. Season 2 is just as diabolical, especially the most recent episode. The planet Sar Bomba is like when super volcanoes existed. Oh, I have ADHD and autism, bro. Me too. But yeah, we're gonna start on the lesson soon, and I also request you guys stay on topic. So that goes for you, Pojo. You had your fun, so I request you guys stay on topic in case people have questions, and then sometimes it's hard for me to see if people have questions. So I want to make sure everyone is I get to everyone's question and comment. Okay, okay. Why are you looking at me like that with that? Time to watch. Okay. So without further ado, let's go into, oh, and also if the music ever gets a bit loud, just let me know, and I'll make sure to tone it down. Okay, let's get started. There we go. Whoa, that was a nice transition. That was nice and smooth. I actually, oh, that's a thing that I'm missing. that's a thing. Whoa, holy crap! Shochi! Hi, Shochi! Oh my goodness, hello, Frendo! How are you? Thank you so much for the raid. I'm ready for class, profe. Profe, you're the profe. I hope your stream went well. I definitely have to go check out that VOD. I need to see all your knowledge about being a teacher. Flower raid, yay, flower raid, welcome raiders. Shochi, let me give you a shout out. And I gotta make sure it's a shout out, guys. Many times before, I had accidentally raided the person that had raided me. I had raided people that had raided me because I thought I was shouting them out, but no, I was I was raiding them. Okay, Shochi, Billy, VT, shout out, yay! Okay, there we go. There is a shout out. Guys, make sure to follow Shochi, a fellow Aztec VTuber. Let's go! And then Shochi, you're gonna have your live TT debut in like a few days. So I am excited for that. Oh my gosh! So guys, go make sure to follow him. Follow him now! And raiders, you guys have come just in time to listen into how the Aztec Triple Alliance was born. Yes, you see these gremlins right here? These little gremlins, they made a big change in history, and we're gonna learn about that right now. Yeah. So, are you guys ready? Thank you for the hydrate. Wow, thank you. I'll need that right before we start. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let us begin. Hello everyone. Today we're going to dive into the formation of the Triple Alliance, and let me tell you, it's crazy. It's a story of political scheming, betrayal, violence, and much more. But most importantly, this gives us an insight on how power dynamics worked at the time. And you see these same sort of schemes at play upon the arrival of the Spanish almost a century later. So I hope this mini lesson not only gives you an insight on the Aztec Empire, but also a deeper understanding of the conquest, which is a topic associated with a lot of misconceptions. A lot. Flower gives waters to pretty purple flowers. Eee, yay! Already, maestra. Yes, I'll definitely need a lot of hydration today. There's a lot of tea. There's a lot of tea and a lot of chisme when it comes to our ancient Mexican ancestors. I think about it because I did a lot of research on the codices, and I'm like, damn. Dude, like the ancient abuelos and abuelas, mainly the abuelos, they were so dramatic. They were so dramatic. So yeah, we'll see a bit of that drama today. Should I get my notebook out? Get it out. Get your notes out. Make sure to take notes. I'm gonna quiz you guys at the end. Hola, profe. Hola, Jose Julian, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido al stream. Lock in and start noting things down. Do you think they would like white chocolate or not? Because it's just milk. I don't. It'd be like an acquired taste for them because for them, it was actually dark chocolate. They like their chocolate bitter. How about I use grr? My brain about to remember things. Yes, yes, yes. Get ready to get a new fold in your brain for more knowledge. Estoy burned, pero pasando por una situación difícil. Oh no, espero que todo mejore muy pronto, José Julián. Y espero que aprendas algo nuevo hoy en nuestra lección de la Triple Alianza. Okay, let us move on to the next slide. So just a quick intro from me. I am Cosmic Chaya and I like to study Mesoamerican history and make art about the culture. This ranges from mythological figures like sweet, sweet beloved Quetzalcoatl to historical figures like the ones we will learn about today. You can find me pretty much anywhere on the planet with this username. I'm crazy on all of the platforms, although Twitter tends to be the craziest, so beware. Beware. So now without further ado, let's get into the history. Let's get into the la historia. So first and foremost, let's establish some vocabulary and general knowledge about the Aztec world. So when referring to this side of history, we often hear the word tribe. It's usually used to describe groups or political entities, but that has led to many misconceptions. Raise your hand if you guys, when studying or hearing about Aztec history, you've heard about tribes. Like, they're like, oh yeah, like all the tribes like teamed up against the Aztec. Yeah, like all the tribes hated the Aztec and stuff. Like, raise your hand if you guys have heard something like that. And also, thank you for the follow, Consuelo Sol, thank you, and also Enki N, thank you for the follow, yippee. And then let's see, Exe, J Campsor, and Chaotic Review. Thank you. Is Bumbleberry, thank you for the follow as well. Raise hands pretty much every time. Yeah. Every time. So yeah, tribes, no. We will not be using the term tribes here, okay? Okay? No tribes. No tribes. So for that reason, we will use the framework. For that reason, we will use the framework of ethnic groups and city-states. The Nahua people, for instance, were a large ethnic group in central Mexico, and they're the biggest indigenous group in modern Mexico today. So, depending on where you're from in Mexico, you might have friends or family that speak Nahuatl, which is the unifying language of the the Aztec, kinda. There's always like variations of like the main language, but for the most part, Nahuatl is like is one of the biggest indigenous languages still used to this day. City state tribes equals no use. Got it. Exactly. Don't use the word tribe. Don't use it. Okay. Within the Nahua group were subgroups like the Tepanec, Chalca, Mexica, and many more. These subgroups had Nahuatl as a general unifying language and a general shared culture, but ultimately they kept distinct identities from each other. So yeah, even though I mentioned they had like a general culture, a general shared culture, within the subgroup there were very like specific like nuances. Okay, like even when it came to the clothing, certain accessories were associated with specific subgroups. Like I believe that Tlaxcalteca, they had a very specific like tie that they would use around their head. Um, it was like striped red and white. And then for the Mexica, it was common to use like these sort of feather tassels. Um, so even though generally there was like some commonalities, like the use of tilmatli or like the huipil, as you can see here, like they're wearing huipils and the tilmatli, which is like a cape. But there were always very specific distinctions between each group. Um, the Nahua to Mexico are like the Germans to Europe. Can I ask a question? Yes, of course, of course. Go on ahead. I love questions. I love them. In the meantime, I will go to the next slide, but I'm happy to go back if you guys need it. So these subgroups built and ruled over city-states, which were complex urban centers with governments, economies, social hierarchies, and most importantly, the appointing of a legitimate ruler known as a Tlatoani, a chief speaker. With a Tlatoani set in place, a city-state gained the title of an Altepet. So here we have, this is actually Acamapichli. He was the first Tlatoani of the Mexica, the first Tlatoani to rule in Tenochtitlan. Okay, move on. So I mentioned Altepet. So the word Altepet means water mountain, which refers to how the Nahua people historically settled around the hill for shelter and as a source of water. And it's why city-states were depicted with variations of this mountain glyph. So usually when you look up like a certain city-state or location, in like Google or just in general, you'll commonly see this glyph. It's like a little mountain with water coming out from the bottom, and then usually on top there is like a specific symbol. So like there's this symbol right here. We have a different symbol. We have a snake. So the defining feature usually was the symbol on top. And then when it had the mountain with the water, it meant it was an altepet or like a city-state. Okay, let's see. Question. I must sound dumb for a second, but what I see is some have the same first part of their names. Like Tepanec has the first part of Tezcatlipoca. So I thought, would that be their patron god or something like that? Oh, that's a great question. So some of them do. So for example, the Mexica, their leader was named Messi, and they derived their name from that figure. So that's why they came to be known as Mexica. But for other groups like Tepanec, I'm not sure if they specifically worship Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca actually was kind of like a shared god amongst like the Nahua people in general, but like his prominence in the pantheon would vary throughout each group. So like another example would be, they're not noted here, but like the people of Cholula, they were huge devotees to Quetzalcoatl. And even though Quetzalcoatl was also worshipped by the Mexica, Quetzalcoatl only had like a minor temple in Tenochtitlan, while Chalco had like this giant pyramid for Quetzalcoatl. But yeah, as for whether the god being like the source of the name, not for all of them. It varies. And I actually don't know too much of an answer for their origin of namings aside from the Mexica and maybe the Akulwa. Let's see. Adaptations to the Americas environments led for the amazing old world art, teach, and inventions. Oh my gosh, I love Native American art and architecture. It's just so beautiful. Talhuica also makes me think they are linked to Tlaloc. Talwika. I keep misspelling the missing spelling. Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know too much about these specific names. I mean, I just know Xochimilca has the word flower. Tlawika, I'm not too sure. Tlaloc, I do know was a shared god amongst a lot of these groups. I think Tlaloc and Tezcatlipoca were the ones that were like, they were pretty popular. They were pretty popular amongst everyone. Dea is the realm of the old world, given it was also important in Mexica myth, if I am right. Dea or Tlaloc? Xipototec was also shared, no? Xipototec was shared, but I don't think he was as prominent as, like, let's say Tlaloc. Because Tlaloc, when you think about it, is like, you know, he's the rain god of water. And everyone needs water. But yeah, I hope that gave a little bit of clarification. So we talked about Altepet, the water mountain. And now let's go on to the next slide. So a specific ethnic group might control multiple Altepet, and a single Altepet could include people from multiple ethnic backgrounds. Politics revolved more around the Altepet than specific ethnic groups themselves. And throughout this lesson, I will be referring to each subgroup by their respective name and their Altepet name. So, for example, we have here the Mexica. The Mexica. And their Altepet was known as Tenochtitlan. Thank you. Speaking of water, Chicks, thank you for the hydrate. Delicioso. Tez will not ever be funny to me. He willingly took a foot for the time, but then like decided to troll some people. I know. Ever since he lost his foot, he's been like pissed off at Quetzalcoatl. Wish Twitch was subtitled. Oh, I know, right? But don't worry, this will go up as a VOD later with subtitles. So don't you worry about it. Don't you worry. Okie dokie, moving on. So our key players in this story are going to be the Mexica and their Altepet Tenochtitlan. So right here in the middle in their little island. The Tepanec and two of their Altepet known as Azcapotzalco and Tlacopan. So the Tepanec controlled Azcapotzalco and Tlacopan right here. They're like kind of right next to each other, right here on the edge of the lake. And then lastly, we have the Aculwa people. The Aculwa people and their Altepet known as Texcoco. So they're all the way on the other side. So Aculwa, Texcoco, Mexica, Tenochtitlan, Tepanec, Azcapotzalco, and Tlacopan. I know, these names, right? I'm gonna quiz you guys on it. I'm just kidding. So I will also be using the term Aztec as an umbrella term to describe the general region of central Mexico at the time, as well as the general population and area of influence. So when I say Aztec, I do not mean Mexica, okay? I do not mean Mexica. It's so funny. I post like videos on YouTube and TikTok, and I just do like, you know, short videos describing different things about the Aztecs, and every time, people are like, actually they weren't known as Aztec. They were known as Mexica. And it's like, don't you think I know? But yeah, I use Aztec as an umbrella term because sometimes like I'm referring to the culture in general in that area, and it would be wrong for me to say Mexica. It would be wrong because Mexica, you know, was a very specific group. As you see here, you see that this is the Mexica right here, this tiny little dot, and this is the whole area of influence. So yeah, when I want to talk about this whole region, I just say Aztec. When I'm talking about the Mexica in general, I will say Mexica. The conquistadors took away the nice Arctic for blocks. Boo, blocks! would help so much as a what? Aztec all within the alliance, right? Yes, 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 yes. The Aztec, it's just a general term. Just to make things easier, because the other option would have been me, like, naming every single group right here. Every single one of them. And, yeah, we can't do that. Okay, next let's talk about marriage. Ooh la la. So, back then, alliances were everything, and they were often sealed through marriage. With the marriage with the Tlatoani. The Tlatoani would take wives from various other Altepet to create bonds and political ties. And these women were commonly crap, let me rephrase that. These women commonly had blood ties to other Tlatoani or high nobility. And this is actually how they would tie the knot. They would literally tie the knot, chat. when the boy and the girl would get married in Aztec times, they would tie their blouse and the cape together. Yes, literally tying the knot. Yes. By the way, hello Exiled Prince. How are you? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, I just thought that was really cute. Oh, yeah, right. I love that. Yeah, it's adorable. Tying the knots. So yeah, but these marriages, especially for the nobility and the Tlatoani, they were really important. That's how they would establish their allies and how they would even like rise up their ranks in power. Writing that down for my wedding. Oh, God, A. Okay, so it was very important to establish a primary wife who would symbolize the most important alliance for the Altepet. She would be the one to bear the most legitimate heirs to the throne amongst the dozen of kids that Tlatoani produced with other women. And her role was powerful, but other wives also had a bid for that same power. And if the king or Tlatoani favored a specific wife, her home Altepet would benefit politically. So this created intense rivalries among the women and even the children. It was its own kind of battleground, filled with political scheming and social maneuvering. And lastly, if no primary wife was appointed, it would quickly result in a power vacuum. So here we have a set of wives. Usually there was a lot more, depending on how strong a Tlatoani was. You know, they'd have a bunch. They'd have a bunch of wives. It was like a collection. It was a collection of women. And it was just mainly to keep the alliance with different Altepet or city-states. And then, like I mentioned before, it was important to identify or to choose out the primary wife. The one who was the most treasured alliance for that Tlatoani. Because if there was no primary wife, then all these ladies would be like fighting each other. They'd be fighting each other pretty much. Power vacuum, yeah. That's why it was important to have a primary wife. Because then like all the wives knew like, okay, she is the main girl. She's the main girly pop. Her sons are going to be the next kings. So that's just how it is. And like as time would go on, like the power would shift, you know, like this lineage or this Altepet wouldn't always be, you know, the one on top. Maybe the next generation, like the son or the daughter of this wife would have more power. So it was always like shifting around. And yeah, the women, they played a very vital role in establishing these alliances. As we'll see, they even started wars. We'll get to that later. Gotta catch them all white version. I swear, if there's a Mesoamerican Solomon, but because of all the codex are almost all destroyed, we don't know. Actually, there is an Aztec Solomon. We're gonna talk about him. We're literally gonna talk about him in a few slides. Don't worry. We'll get to Aztec Solomon for sure. Still find it funnier that these guys lived longer than Europeans at the time. Oh, I know. There's a guy in here that lived like to be like 100. Okay, moving on. Any questions so far? I know I did a lot of I threw a lot of words at you just now. There was a lot of words. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I'll happily go back to any of the slides. Okay, so on the continuing the topic of marriages. So why were marriages so important? Well, it's because lineage was crucial. Your bloodline determined your legitimacy and claim to power. To be a blood relative to a powerful ruler gave you immediate benefits in the form of alliance and favor. And we're gonna see that. We're literally gonna see that happen in just a few slides. The man is everywhere, I swear. Can I go to the bathroom? You can go to the bathroom. Go, run, run, run. Run before we get into the crazy tea. Actually, I think we're like getting into. We're about to get into the tea. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, we talked about ethnic groups. We talked about Altepets. We talked about how alliances were formed. So now with that understanding in place, whoa. Holy crap. Whoa, wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. What is going on? Valorant, thank you so much for the gifted subs, and Outlaw, thank you so much for the gifted subs as well. Whoa, I was not expecting that. What's going on? Thank you. It's and congrats to everyone who got a gifted sub. Another raid. Finally. Oh my god. Is it another race? No, this was a gifted sub explosion. Thank you. Wow, oh my goodness. Guys, I think at this point we like reached our we reached our last sub goal. I have to check. I have to double check, but oh my goodness. That means I have to do a giveaway of the cutscene. Yay! There's a promotion with Valorant. Oh, okay, I was like, Valorant? Who's Valorant? What the heck? I didn't add special, but I'm exhausted. Less Outlaw is like what's love for human. Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Outlaw. And thank you, Valorant, if you're here. Okay. Where did I leave off from? Now I have to continue. Okay. Here we go. So now that we understand ethnic groups, Altepets, and alliances, let's go back in time to the early 1400s. The Triple Alliance had whoa. Okay, never mind. False alarm! Guys, I thought my my music was like super loud, and I was like, oh my gosh, guys, why did you tell me? Okay, never mind. Okay, let's go back in time to the early 1400s. The Triple Alliance had long yet to be formed. Instead, there was a different powerhouse at play. Who could it be? Do you guys have any guesses? Like, we know the Mexica were on top for the longest time, but who was on top before the Mexica? Teacher, can I nom nom on ice cream? Fine, only if you share some with me. The Mayans? Okay, that is a really good guess. And honestly, you're not wrong. You're not necessarily wrong, but not quite correct. It's a strawberry. Strawberry. Purepecha. I'm sure it was Olmec. Purepecha, Olmec. Okay, those are also really good guesses. Really good guesses. I mean, the Olmec actually precedes this time period way before, but they were definitely on top at one point. I get half credits. People said the ones with IC. Okay, not exactly. Olmecs were like pre-classical. I forgot how to spell it. Oh, I was JK about Purepecha. Zapotec's not quite. I presume it's likely one of the Aztec groups. Close. They're not. Oh yes. Going off our definition of Aztec being like, you know, the general area. Yes. But yeah, you guys did some very good guesses, and now it's time for the answer. Our key player is Azcapotzalco. an Altepet formed by the powerful Tepanec people. At the time, the Tepanec dominated the central valley of Mexico. Their Tlatoani was the great leader Tezosomoc. So here we have Tezosomoc. Here we have the glyph for Azcapotzalco. And Azcapotzalco found itself right here, on the edge of Lake Texcoco, right next to Tlacopan, and pretty nearby Tenochtitlan. Of course, they had to cross the waters, but they were kind of close by to each other. So there we have it. It was Azcapotzalco of the Tepanec. So the Tepanec is the ethnic group. Azcapotzalco is the city-state, which is also known as the Altepet. And never mind, not mine. I love the little symbol. Mesoamerica is their arts aura form and later arts too symbol, right? Oh, hype chest. Wow. Wowza. Yay. That glyph looks like an ant dragon. Oh yeah, actually, Azcapotzalco means the anthill. That's what it translates to, the anthill. Okay, moving on. The Mexica were subject to Azcapotzalco at the time. They would offer tribute as well as military strength throughout Azcapotzalco's various conquests. So Azcapotzalco, the anthill, they were at the top. And then the Mexica, they were just kind of like the goons. No, that's not the word. The goon. Or they had a big anthill. I mean, they were kind of like an anthill. You know, they were like a giant city state, with a lot of people. The Goonies. Yeah, the Mexica, they were just like a military force. Basically, Azcapotzalco would start fights, and then they would be like, "All right, Mexica, send us your soldiers." And then the Mexica were like, "Yes, dear. Like, okay, fine. Like, we're gonna send our soldiers. We don't want to fight, but you know, if we don't fight for you, you guys are gonna beat us up." So yeah. So for the longest time, the Mexica had to kiss up to Azcapotzalco because Azcapotzalco, like, they were really strong, bro. They were like a full-on empire at that time. So the Mexica, they were just tiny little pueblito in the middle of an island. So they didn't have a chance against Azcapotzalco even if they tried. So over time, the Mexica gained favor from their Tepanec overlords. This allowed Lord Huitzilihuit, second king of Tenochtitlan, to ask Lord Tezosomoc for one of his daughter's hand in marriage. And they succeeded. Huitzilihuit married Ayaus. I was practicing these names, but they're hard. Okay. Huitzilihuit married Ayasiwat and made her his primary wife, holding their alliance with Azcapotzalco in highest regard. So here we have Ayasiwat, who is the daughter of Lord Tezosomoc. We see his thumbs up of approval. She was married off to Huitzilihuit, who was the second king of the Mexica. He was the son of Acamapichli, the first king of the Mexica. And don't worry about this right here. That's a spoiler. Okay, we're not going to talk about that right now. I think about what happens next from the myth. I'm not wrong. The Goonies. I think I know what it is. Oh, that's crazy. How could it be? Don't worry about it right now. Okay. The couple had a son named Chimalpopoca, who was greatly favored by his grandfather Tezosomoc. With such a powerful alliance, Chimalpopoca was well on his way to becoming the next great king of Tenochtitlan, a perfect candidate of the most prestigious lineage. Things were finally starting to look up for the Mexica. But... So here we see Chimalpopoca, son of Huitzilihuit, and I forgot her name. What was her? Ayasiwat. And then Grandpa Tesosomoc's beautiful seal of approval. So yeah, it was going good, guys. It was going great. But things went downhill as Queen Ayasiwat died, followed by King Huitzilihuitl, leaving Chimalpopoca on the throne at a relatively young age. Most sources agree on the age 20, but some, as in the case of Diego Duran Historia, his age goes as far as 10 years old. So he was, yeah, he ascended to the throne relatively young. Yeah, 10 years old. Yeah, in some accounts, it was as young as 10 years old. So he was a little baby. It was a little baby, and yeah, it was hard, but luckily, King Chimalpopoca still had his grandfather's favor and capable advisors to rely on. One advisor being his uncle Itzcoat, brother of his father Huitzilihuitl. Despite that, though, tensions started to rise as the Tepanec saw the Mexica slowly grow in power. Some Tepanec nobles even started to question Lord Tesosomoc's support for his grandson, and the Mexica by extension. So here we have Chimalpopoca, still with his grandfather's seal of approval, and a very capable advisor, Itzcoat, which was his uncle. Classic ancient civilization trope. 10 to 20 is a big gap. Oh my god. Yes, in general, age 20 seems to be like the more like agreed upon age. But I think what's important to note is that it was still like pretty young and like pretty sudden. You know, with Huitzilihuitl dying, he died pretty young too. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle for Chimalpopoca. I do not envy the poor guy because yeah, everything started to go down during his reign. But okay, moving on. I wish to say it stops there, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, because so when Grandpa Tesosomok died, it resulted in an outright catastrophe. Not only did his death mark an end to the Mexica's favor, it sparked a violent power struggle throughout the valley. You see, Lord Tesosomok had many wives and children, which was only natural considering his high status as king of Azcapotzalco, but this proved disastrous as heirs fought for his highly coveted throne after his death in 1426. So here he is, Lord Tesosomok, and his bunch of wives and a bunch of kids. Lots and lots of kids. That was just normal, guys. This was a normal thing in Mesoamerica. Like the Tlatoanis, they just had a lot of kids. They had a lot of freaking kids. Earth's writers have gotten lazy this season. We really need a Mesoamerican comeback. I agree. Grand seal of approval, get it? Because grandpa, yes! Oh, I guess I was wrong in my guess. But yeah, here we are. So, Grandpa Tesosomok, he died. He died. So now it's just Chimalpopoca and Itzcoat fending for themselves. And the Tepanec, at this point, they were already kind of like hating on the Mexica. So, for Tesosomok, even though he had appointed a rightful heir, his son Tayatzin, by his primary wife of the Tlacopan nobility, another son by the name of Mashla wanted to become king. So Mashla staged a coup, killed Tayatzin, the rightful heir, and wiped out anyone connected to that lineage. It was a massacre. Yeah, Mashla was freaking crazy, dude. There's this... Okay, that's actually a spoiler. I will tell you later. I'll tell you later what he does, okay? When I read it, I was like, damn, this guy was unhinged. It was really unhinged. But anyways, yeah, Mashla, he was crazy. He was freaking crazy. So R.I.P. Tayatsin. I think he didn't even get to rule that much. He got the throne, and then Masha came in and just yeeted him. Rip, rip, rip. He was set on that throne. He was definitely set on that throne. Oh yeah, and one of his victims was King Chimalpopoca himself. It is said he was invited to a feast to celebrate Mashla's coronation, only to be strangled to death in the banquet. After his death, the alliance between the Mexica and the Tepanec crumbled to pieces. Yeah, it was a big fallout, chat, which kind of sucks because like everything was on the right track. Like literally, the Mexica were doing everything right. Like they were doing their best. Like they kissed up to the Tepanec for years upon years upon years. Finally, they had a daughter that was given to them by Lord Tesosomoc. You know, they finally had like a strong alliance with the strongest city-state at the time. And then everything literally just came crashing down. Like it just exploded. So R.I.P. Chimalpopoca. He only ruled for 10 years, and then I think he died like at age 30. So rip Chimalpopoca. So it is suspected that Chimalpopoca's death was planned by the Mexica themselves, the main culprit being someone who had the most to gain from the empty throne. That was Itzcoat, his uncle and trusted advisor, a capable warrior, commander, and politician who knew no fear. But that, of course, is an allegation, okay? It's alleged, okay? Allegedly. Alright, Itzcoat, don't come at me with a lawsuit right now, please. I beg you, please. I love you with all my heart, please. Don't kill me. Oh yeah, yes, this is a doodle I did. I doodled Chimalpopoca dying. And then you see, well, I mean, I already told you who that was, but yeah, that's Itzcoat's cape right there. He's like, die, Chimalpopoca. I'm just kidding. Like I said, that is an allegation. We don't know. If Itzcoat really wanted to kill his nephew. We don't know. Teacher, can I nom on art? Yes, you can nom on the art. Itzcoat is definitely a ruler class servant, and also he's the reason for the Aztec Empire. You know, I actually see him as an assassin class. I see him as an assassin class. Not really a ruler, because as a ruler, he'd have to be unbiased, and he was definitely very biased. Like, he did everything he could to get the Mexica on top. Like, that guy was freaking crazy. But anyways, that's a spoiler. Oh my goodness. I cannot spoil much more. Itzcoat, you think you bring me down, but I own this fucking town. Pretty much. Exactly. I'm so glad you guys are understanding my meme references. Got sent to ad jail. Oh no, not ad jail. I is back. Yay, hooray. Okay, well, Itzcoat, our sussy, but very amazing guy. So, Itzcoat, you know, it was alleged that he killed Chimalpopoca, but it makes sense. After all, Itzcoat was never meant to rule. He was son of a slave woman and therefore had no prestige other than his father Acamapichtli, first king of Tenochtitlan. The legitimate royal line should have continued through Lord Huitzilihuit right here. So this was the legitimate line. It was supposed to be Huitzilihuit, then Chimalpopoca, and then like his son, which I believe he had a son, but he was too much of a baby. There's another iteration. There's another version of the story where Chimalpopoca does leave a son to rule, and the son, you know, is a very baby, very tiny child. But it's also suspected that Itzcoat killed that son. Cause, and I mean, I kind of get why Itzcoat would do it, because he's like, bruh, like, nah, we need a capable leader. I am that capable leader. So he is just that guy. So can I nom on art? Yes, you can nom on the art. Go ahead. It's all yours. Okay. So, but desperate times called for desperate measures. The Mexica needed a brave tactical leader, one who would guide them through their worst crisis yet. Itzcoatl fit that role perfectly, much so that it is said he outshone everyone else. Lineage did not hold him back one bit. A baby? A baby! So it is said that Itzcoatl's advisors implored him to beg Mashla for mercy and end the turmoil. Even the Mexica themselves were ready to give themselves up as slaves to the Tepanec than to fight an impossible battle. However, Itzcoatl decided to rise up against Azcapotzalco and take advantage of the chaos. He was smart, he was ambitious, and he would put pieces in place to ensure a grand victory. After all, he wanted the Mexica to be free and independent at last. So here he is. This is Itzcoatl. This is his glyph. You guys see the snake with the spikes on it? That is his glyph. Anytime you see this glyph, that's how you know that you are we're talking about Itzcoatl. See the glyph right here, the snake with the spikes. We see it crap. We see it here as well. We see the snake with the spikes. We see it right here, the snake with the spikes, and then it's not shown, you can't see it well, but if like I were to zoom in or get another picture, you would see the snake with the spikes on here as well. You could vaguely, just slightly see it. But yeah, that's our boy. That's Itzcoatl. Yeah, I read in one of the codices that the Mexica, they were just so distraught, and they had pretty much like given up on themselves. They were like, yeah, Itzcoatl, we're gonna leave. Like, I know you're our new king and stuff, but oh, excuse me, I burped. I know you're our new king, but like, we don't stand a chance against Azcapotzalco, so we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go and give ourselves up as slaves. Like that might give us at least we won't die in battle. But Itzcoatl was like, guys, like, come on, you guys have to rise up. So he definitely did a lot of like pep talk to the Mexica to, you know, get them inspired so to fight. But of course they were not alone. Itzcoatl was gonna make sure that they had valuable allies for this grand battle. So, first, Itzcoatl sought out the allegiance. First, Itzcoatl sought out the allegiance of his nephew Nezahualcóyotl, a crucial figure in this story. Raise your hand if you guys have heard about Nezahualcóyotl. I feel like he's one of the more popular names in like Aztec history. A lot of times you'll hear like about Nezahualcóyotl. Like Wheat's the god, I can't spell his name. The hummingbird of the south. Thank you for the hydrate, Pojo. Thank you. Yummy. You've heard of Nezahualcóyotl, Exiled Prince? You haven't heard about Nezahualcóyotl, Wolfie? No worries. No worries. I also didn't know about Nezahualcóyotl until recently. I know him from the city. Ah, I see. Yes, he does have a city named after him. Yes. I mean, I know about him. Okay, yay. But is that where he got his name? From Wheats? Oh, okay. So, going back. So you're asking about Huitzilihuit. So Huitzilihuit means, I believe it means like hummingbird feather. And yes, it is associated with the god Huitzilopochtli. So that's why, you know, Huitzilihuit, you know, he was given such a prestigious name, because, you know, he was destined to be like the main heir, like the one that would continue the legitimate line of rulers. Itzcoatl, on the other hand, his name, they literally just made it up. So Huitzilihuit, he actually inherited this name from like previous ancestors, previous ancestors that had done great feats throughout history. Itzcoat, he was the son of a slave, so they were like, oh, what do we name this child, this random child that got popped out from a slave woman? And they're like, I guess obsidian snake? Yeah, sure, that sounds cool. And so they just kind of slapped on the name Itzcoat. But yeah, and it is said that Huitzilihuit, he was the image of Lord Huitzilopochtli himself. So, yeah. So, it's just interesting because literally Itzcoat, like, literally, he was not meant to rule at all. Like, he was just kind of supposed to be there. Okay? Like, in a perfect timeline, Huitzilihuit would have continued his lineage. But Itzcoat was like, yeah, I'm just gonna... I own this town now, and I'm gonna beat everyone up. I love Itzcoat. He's actually my favorite out of all the Mexica Tlatoanis. Yippee! Chaya Rise hand emote. Yeah, that's a good idea for an emote. A great warrior like the god. Huitzilihuit, yeah, he was, all Tlatoanis had to be very capable warriors too, because usually they would be the ones in the front lines commanding the army. So yeah, but Huitzilihuit, like I said, he was destined for greatness. But fate had other plans. I'm learning so much. I know basically nothing of the Aztec era. Oh, I'm so glad you're learning a lot. Yay! That is my goal, that more people learn about the Aztecs, because their history is crazy and quite beautiful. It's crazy that there's Huitzil and there's Huitzli, two different words, completely different meanings. Darn letter placement, people said. Itzcoat turned out to be that one piece needed. I know. I love him so much. Ah! Oh my gosh, I'm such a fangirl for this guy. Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna contain myself. Okay. So where do we leave off from? We left off from Nezahualcóyotl, who is a crucial figure in this story. So you see, Nezahualcóyotl was the rightful heir to the throne of Texcoco, circled right here. And Texcoco was an Altepetl of the Aculwa people. This was significant because Texcoco had existing beef with Azcapotzalco that went way back to when Lord Tezosomoc was still alive and thriving. Let's go back in time a bit and check out Nezahualcóyotl's lore. So we learned a little bit about Itzcoatl's lore. Now let's go into Nezahualcóyotl's lore. So going back in time, during Tezozomoc's reign of terror, the Tlatoani of Texcoco was Lord Itzlisochit I. He was the father of Nezahualcóyotl. Due to Azcapotzalco's dominance, King Ixtlisochit I had an Azcapotzalco woman as his primary wife. However, sometimes he favored his Mexica wife more. So, as we mentioned before, Tlatoanis, or the kings, they would have multiple wives, and they would usually name the primary wife, which was supposed to represent their most valued alliance. Of course, with Azcapotzalco being on top, being the most powerful entity at the time, Itzlisochit of the Texcoco Altepetl, he had Azcapotzalco wife as the main one. But, like I mentioned, he tended to favor the Mexica wife sometimes. And there is a reason for that. This was due to Tezosomoc treating his Texcoco wife with humiliation in Azcapotzalco. She was not a primary wife, and her roles in ceremonies and politics were very limited. After all, Texcoco wasn't a pal. Oh my gosh, I keep getting tongue-tied. Guys, these names are hard. Okay, one more time. After all, Texcoco wasn't a valued power to them. So, Texcoco, really valued Azcapotzalco, but Azcapotzalco didn't really value Texcoco, which makes sense. You know, Texcoco, I mean, Azcapotzalco, they were on top. They could value whoever they wanted. Okay. The Texcoco wife was so miserable, she eventually fled the palace and returned home, remarrying a man from her own town. So here we see the Texcoco wife, and she just says, bye. Bye, Azcapotzalco. Bye, Lord Tesosomok. And yeah, she just went back home. She went back home, remarried, and had a happy life. But, when Lord Tesosomok found out, he was furious. He waged war against Texcoco, giving no room for any sort of negotiation. Tesosomok was very much a tyrant after all. I have to go back to work. See you later. Thank you for stopping by, Exiled Prince. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your work. Still waiting on Aztec Solomon. Oh, I already mentioned him, but I haven't mentioned why he's Aztec Solomon. Mesoamerica seems so much than the morning dystopia we're getting. The ancient world was pretty. It was very pretty. It was also very brutal. Very much brutal, as we'll see what Lord Tesosomog did to Texcoco. You see it's all up in flames. I meant to say fun? Oh, okay, yeah, it was definitely fun. Unless you were getting, killed. So, the Texcoco nobles were killed, and so was Lord Itzli Tesosomog placed his own ruling class instead, having the Tepanec ruling over the Aculwa Altepet of Texcoco. However, one of Ixtlilxochit's sons survived. So here we have Azcapotzalco. They beat up the people of Texcoco, and they were like, all right, well, now we're gonna rule over you. So usually what was common is that there was like an alliance, and you had like the ruling noble family and like the ruling class, which was usually of like the main ethnic group that had built that Altepet. So for Texcoco, it was the Aculwa. You know, the Aculwa were supposed to be the ones ruling the place. But after this fallout, Azcapotzalco, the Tepanec, they basically killed off the Aculwa ruling class and put themselves as the rulers. So that was a very bad position for Texcoco, because it's like they were pretty much subjects to the Tepanec, even within their own home. And let's see, and brutal. Man, they should make this into a telenovela. Right. I'm actually writing a fic, taking place in this whole craziness. So look out for it. I'll talk about it more towards the end. But yes, moving on to the next slide. So like I mentioned, Itzli was killed, and the whole ruling class actually was killed off in Texcoco. But there was one survivor. And that was Nezahualcoyot, son of the Mexica wife Matlasiwat, who was Itzcoat's sister. He was 15 years old when he lost his father. After that, he fled into exile and was raised in Tenochtitlan. Despite being so far away from home, though, he never forgot who he was as the rightful heir to Texcoco. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that Nezahualcoyot was the son of Itzcoat's sister. So that's why Itzcoat, he was like, all right, I know who I'm gonna call. Right now. I'm gonna call up my nephew, Nezahualcoyot. And yeah, Nezahualcoyot, he was raised in Tenochtitlan, so it's very likely that, even Itzcoat himself had, like, played a role maybe in, like, mentoring him or just, interacting with him. So they had an existing bond. In some of the codices, it's actually mentioned that Itzcoat was like a father figure to Nezahualcoyotl, which I thought I just think it's so cute. Like, oh, okay, I need to calm down, chat. Oh, I get too crazy when it comes to Eat Squad. Spirit Ascension would be first thing for re-debut. Also, Mesoamerican history is enough for so much movies. Oh yeah, definitely. It's uncharted land. Nephew came in clutch, definitely. True family is strong. Thank you for the hydrate, Pojo. Thank you. Okie dokie. Moving on. So, Nezahualcoyotl, he never forgot who he was. And so now, we're back to Lord Itzcoatl as he extends his hand to his nephew Nezahualcoyotl. Together, they would put an end to the golden age of Azcapotzalco. Have I another question? But it's a bit off topic. That's fine, go for it. If I don't answer it right now, I'll definitely answer it in a minute. Okay, so we have Itzcoatl and Nezahualcoyotl. They reunite an uncle and his precious little nephew. So, the first course of action, of course, was... Oh, crap. I need to repeat that. The first course of action was to put Nezahualcoyotl back on his rightful throne in Texcoco. This meant they had to expel the Tepanec rulers who had been planted there by Lord Tesosomoc. So here we see the Azcapotzalco rulers, or the Tepanec rulers. They have a giant target on themselves. And Nezahualcoyotl is ready. He's ready to throw some hands. So this also meant going against Maxtla. Crap, I need to repeat that. This also meant going against Maxtla himself, as he was the new ruler of the Tepanec. The Mexica would supply the military power, and Nezahualcoyotl would rally his people to push back the Tepanec forces. So here we have Tenochtitlan, the glyph of Tenochtitlan with the warriors ready to lend a hand. And here we have the Texcoco glyph with Nezahualcoyotl right here actually. This is Nezahualcoyotl, and he's rallying up his allies to take down the Tepanec. Okay, let's see. What do you think of Quetzalcoatl's twin brother, Xolotl? I think he's a cute, precious little doggo. Xolotl is a cute, precious doggo. I like him a lot. He definitely doesn't get as much love and as much representation as his very popular brother, Quetzalcoatl. But that doesn't mean he's any less of a god than his brother, Quetzalcoatl. I still need to draw him. I was so close to designing him in my last design stream. I was gonna draw a furry Xolotl, but I guess that might be a next that might be a subject for the next design stream. We love him. Yeah, he's adorable. He's very cute. Okie dokie. Moving on. So, and with their forces combined, Itzcoatl and Nezahualcoyotl succeeded. Maxtla was said to have fled and... Crap. I need to redo that. A lot of these lines I have to redo just because I do want this to be a VOD that people can go back to and re-listen to the story. Okay. And with their forces combined, they succeeded. Maxtla was said to have fled, and the grand city-state of Azcapotzalco fell to ruin. Their defeat was so bad, it is said that Azcapotzalco became a slave market, a far cry from their days of glory under Lord Tesosomoc. So here, this picture is taken from the Florentine Codex. And right here, as I mentioned before, when you see this glyph, this is Itzcoatl. So here we see Itzcoatl. He's terrifying. He's destroying the poor Tepanec right here. And bringing glory to his people. And there we have his faithful warrior right behind him. With victory in their hands, Nezahualcoyotl reclaimed his rightful crown in Texcoco, appointed by Itzcoatl himself, And Itzcoatl became the first emperor of the Mexica. And this is how the Triple Alliance was born. Now, you may be wondering, it's called the Aztec Triple Alliance. So, where's the third guy? That spot goes to Tlacopan, also known as Tacuba. It was another altepetl formed by the Tepanec and was sort of a smaller sister state to Azcapotzalco. If you remember, Tesosomoc's primary wife was from Tlacopan. Let me catch up with chat really quick. We love our Death Dog Trio, Anubis, Sholo, and Cerebus. Oh my gosh, Death Dog Trio! That sounds so cute. They should go out and have some doggy snacks together. I want that on my wall. Death Dogs being the best doggos ever. They can do no wrong. Okay, I see why you put Itzcoa as an assassin class. He is a devious schemer. Yeah, definitely see him as an assassin class. Faux show. Yeah, cause actually, fun fact, I don't think any like Aztec figure, and even like, well, okay, maybe some of the gods, but I don't think any Aztec figure could really qualify as a rider, because the Aztec, they didn't have like any sort of animal that they would ride, and a lot of their traveling, they would just walk. They would just walk all around. They were experts at walking and carrying stuff. Yeah, they didn't ride no horses, they didn't ride no reindeer, they didn't ride anything. They just walked. So in a sense, yeah, there can't really be an Aztec figure that's a rider in FGO. Okie dokie. So I mentioned Tlacopan. Let me go into a little bit of why they joined. Because like I mentioned before, they are Tepanec. And they pretty much had to fight against each other. So so if you remember, Desosomoc's primary wife was from Tlacopan. So naturally, they had a distaste for Mashla after he killed Tayatzin, the rightful heir. When Itzcoatl and Nezahualcóyotl rose against the mighty Azcapotzalco, Tlacopan played a helping hand against their Tepanec brothers. The Tlatoani of Tlacopan was Totoquihuatzin, who you could see right here. So remember, Tlacopan and Azcapotzalco, they were kind of like sister city-states. But Azcapotzalco was definitely like the bigger one. They were the dominant one, to the point that even Tlacopan found themselves kinda subject to Azcapotzalco, kinda. And then once like that whole fallout with Mashla happened, yeah, Tlacopan were like, yeah, like we're not gonna, like I don't care if you're our brothers, we're gonna fight back. So at that point, Tlacopan had more to gain by switching sides against their sister state, Azcapotzalco. And they did end up winning in the end. Although they had less prominence in the Triple Alliance compared to Texcoco and Tenochtitlan, they still found themselves part of a glorious Triple Alliance. From then on, this powerful alliance would come to dominate the Central Valley of Mexico, creating what is commonly referred to as the Aztec Empire. With their shared military power, they conquered neighboring city-states and regions, demanding tribute from the fallen Altepetl. Tribute included many different goods such as maize, cacao, cloaks, pottery, and yes, even sacrificial victims, who were important to fulfill religious ceremonies. But subjugation didn't necessarily mean loss of identity. Many Altepetl maintained their own customs, rulers, and nobility under Aztec rule. So here we see just how big the Aztec Empire grew to become. And we see like a lot of different names here. For the most part, as I mentioned before, they kept their identity, and they even kept their ruling classes. The main thing that qualified them into the empire or made them part of the empire was the fact that they would pay tribute to these three city-states, Tlacopan, Tenochtitlan, and Texcoco. And as long as they paid up they paid their monthly taxes. Um, the Aztec pretty much left them alone. The Mexica and then Texcoco and they 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 just left the other subjugated city states alone. If they didn't pay the tribute though, or if there was an uprising, that's when the Mexica and Texcoco and Tlacopan, that's when they would rally together and basically crush any opposition. So it's like pay up or die. um okay, let's see. Good old legs. Also, Quali Bird of I Am Spelling It Wrong, you can listen to the last song online. Ooh, good old legs. It's Squat taking the boons of all the Aztec gods to win one war. When I was reading about him in the codices, he was definitely very devout to Huitzilopochtli. Um, Much so that when he found himself on his deathbed, his dying wish was um, that his successors would build a grand temple for Huitzilopochtli. So yeah, Itzcoat really uh, cared or really revered the patron god of the Mexica, which was Huitzilopochtli. And his successors did. They did as Itzcoat asked, and that's why we got the Templo Mayor. They reached those daily steps for sure. I guess if you count the servants raising the throne for their emperor as a rider, but oh yeah, I guess so, but like it's not like it wouldn't be like a magical like steed or like a famous like mount, you know? Can you name where they would be born in modern Mexico? In modern Mexico, like the Triple Alliance? So right here, this lake right here, this is Mexico City. Then Mexico City was pretty much built upon the ruins of Tenochtitlan. And then as for Azcapotzalco, Azcapotzalco still exists in modern day Mexico. It's like a little barrio, I think, in Mexico City. Same thing with Texcoco. I don't know if Texcoco is like a barrio or a specific city. But yeah, all of these names that you see here, a lot of them have persisted to modern day Mexico. I'm gonna get myself some water. Yes. Get your water. Get your water. But yeah, so now you guys have some understanding on how the empire worked, you know? So moving on. And this is important. So this system of kind of like a loose force of like control over subjugated people, this system would eventually contribute to the Aztecs' downfall, as every Altepet switched sides in order to reap the most benefit. The Aztec Empire was simply not a unified identity. At least not in the way that, you'd usually think of when thinking of an empire. Yeah, they were like a lot more chill in terms of how they ruled. So, one of the biggest misconceptions about the Aztec and about the Mexica specifically is that they were hated by other quote-unquote tribes, and that people were oh so happy to ally with the Spanish to get rid of them, which commonly paints the conquistadors as these sort of saviors. But as we saw with this story, changing sides, forming alliances for military aid, and taking advantage of political chaos was pretty normal. Sure, some groups may have had a heated rivalry and grudge against the Mexica, like the Tlaxcalteca, but at the end of the day, Cortez's native allies wanted a piece of the pie that the Aztec had been holding on to for almost 100 years. So yeah, and I see this discourse like all the time on Twitter. And it's always like, oh yeah, like reminder, they're like all these tribes just hated the Aztec. They just hated them because of all the sacrifices. But really everyone did sacrifices, and they turned on the Aztec because they were like, oh, well, the Aztec are gonna fall. We're gonna be the next ones to gain the power, just like the Aztec took the power from Azcapotzalco. The other city states, the other people that switched sides, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna be next. But sadly, the ones who ended up on top were the Spanish. So, womp womp. At the end of the day, the last one laughing is Tezcatlipoca himself, the Lord of Chaos and Change. He saw the end of the Aztec, the end of the Spanish Empire, and will see the end of rulers and powers as history continues to be written. And with that, we've reached the end. Yippee! The end, the end, the end. And here is my art of... this is my art of Itzcoatl. And this is him manifesting his Aztec Empire. How is he manifesting it? By, I don't know. I don't know how he's doing it, but he loves tunas. That's all I gotta say. He loves tunas. Tezcatlipoca, the funny troll mirror guy. Exactly. Exactly. You get water too. Yay! Thank you for the water. Yay, 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 yay. Yummy. Delicious. Scrumptious. Yay, power for power. Tom and Jerry Aztec version. That would be like Ocelot and... oh, crap. Wait, mice? Mice. Now that I think about it, I don't recall seeing any sort of glyphs or references to rats or like mice in Aztec. Hold on. I think the rats were brought on by the colonizers. Yeah, rats aren't native to the Americas, chat. And I only thought about that because when I was trying to imagine like a mouse or like a rat in Aztec times, you know, either from like a codex or like a name, I couldn't think of any. Like there's just no rats. There was no rats. There was no rats in the Aztec Empire. Blows up cactus fruit with a Tezcatlipoca causing chaos for the funsies. Did the Spanish yeah, they brought the rats. I saw the name Tezca and giggled. Oh, what? Yeah. The Spanish... yes, Mexico was rat-free. And all of that happened because, like, the Spanish, they were so freaking yucky. They were disgusting. Like, the rats were, like, infesting their ships. Ugh. Yeah. So, if you guys are, like, complaining about rat infestation in the Americas, yeah, blame the colonizers. They brought those nasties. They brought the nasties into the Americas. They must have been hella... oh, they were so freaking stinky. They were so stinky. Which was, like, crazy because the Aztec, they were known for, you know, having really good hygiene. Like, if you did not shower every day, they were like, what the heck are you doing? Yeah, they were very clean. And they held, like, hygiene and orderliness in very high regard. Blame Europe. Even, like, their architecture, it was very, like, planned out. Like, everything was very, like, neat and tidy. It was built with the purpose in mind. Because the way they would construct their cities, it was to align with the four cardinal points. So, like, in Tenochtitlan, each, like, cardinal direction had its own, like, specific, like, barrio, I guess. Yeah, but they were very orderly, very clean. They had good hygiene standards, better than Euro at the time. Yeah. I think the Europeans were, like, throwing their They were throwing their feces into the roads and stuff. So yeah, that was a culture shock for sure. But yeah, it's kind of sad that the Aztecs like orderly cleanliness was kind of lost with the conquest. But yeah, that is the end. Here are my iterations of Itzcoat and Nezahualcoyot. Itzcoat is this gremlin right here, and Nezahualcoyot is this little gremlin right here. And I still need to draw Totokiwatsin. But yeah, he's on the way. He's in the works. And yeah. Oh, and then as for my fic, yes, I am writing like a mini fic, mainly centered around the life of Itzcoat, because a lot of times what has happened with Itzcoat in general, and we'll cover this in like another lesson in the future, but Itzcoat, he has been a figure that has been demonized a lot. So I know I gave him like a good like I sung his praises throughout the stream. But if you look up Itzcoat in Google, a lot of times he's portrayed as like this very like kind of evil person. Yeah, they portray Itzcoat as a very like cruel totalitarian ruler, which when I read about him at first, I was like, oh damn, like he's crazy, man. Like he's so freaking crazy. What the heck is up with Itzcoat? Yeah, I thought it was a demon too. But then as I started to read like more sources about him, especially when I read the direct sources of like from the codices, that's when I started to realize like, man, he's he was just trying his best. He wanted to free the Mexica, and he wanted to make a world where they would prosper. But yeah, and like I said, if you look up Eat Squats on Google, you will commonly see like the first articles are like, oh yeah, he was crazy, like he was all for human sacrifice and whatnot, and which he was to an extent. Like he definitely did promote human sacrifice, but it was for a reason. We'll talk about that more in another lesson. I think, that's another can of worms once we get into his rule, because he did a lot. Itzcoat ruled for 14 years and he did a lot. He pretty much changed the tide for the Mexica. He did everything in his power to keep the Mexica on top so that they would never be slaves to anyone else again. Chaotic good people be like that. Yeah, I do see Itzcoat be as like a chaotic good. Maybe chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral. Chaotic good. It's kind of bordering those two. Yeah, he wanted to save and protect his people, whatever the cost. And yeah. So we'll talk about him another day, and you'll also be seeing him featured in my art and in the minific whenever it comes out. Didn't you say he would burn codices so the masses don't get any ideas? I think that was one of the few bad things he did. Yes, he did do that. He burned codices, which also has to be seen with a lot of nuance. Because even me, like when I first read about it, I was like, dang, this guy's freaking crazy. And even then, yeah, it wasn't a good thing that he did. But you really gotta look into why he did it, what the codices do. So basically, there was the concept of like hombre dios, and every like little pueblito, every little group had like their patron god. And a lot of times, like these patron gods or these historical figures, which were deified into patron gods, a lot of times they would have like very, glorious story surrounding them, which would, you know, inspire people to be like, hey, like, we're destined to rule. We're the ones that should be on the throne, not these other guys. Like, it would ultimately kind of like inspire people to rise up against like the main power. Each squad didn't want that to be a thing because, you know, if everyone had a different like idea of history and a different idea of who was supposed to be like the god or the ruler, then there would be no unity within the Mexica themselves. So that's why he burned the codices, because he's like, you know what, we're gonna burn all of these things and we're gonna make like the canon. We're gonna make the canon that would put the Mexica on top and basically centralize the power. So like I said, it's not necessarily a good thing, you know, because there was a lot of history that was lost, and it was ultimately for the purpose of control. But also, like, you gotta understand why he did it, because the Aztec wouldn't have gotten as big as they did if it weren't for what Itzcoatl did. So, yeah, it's that's what I want to bring up in the fic. It's like, my purpose is not to justify Itzcoatl. I don't want to say he was a good person or a bad person per se. I think he was a figure that did what he had to do in order for his people to prosper. Whether that means he was evil or not, that's up to you guys to decide. But at least you guys should know the context as to why he did the things he did. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the fic when it comes out, and we'll take a deeper dive into Itzcoatl's story in another little mini lesson. Well, not even mini lesson. How long was this? It was like an hour-long lesson. So what did Kodas do? Did it threaten him? Oh, yeah, pretty much he just wanted to consolidate power. If I am right, there is a punk genre called Mesopunk. Yes, there is. It's based off Central America. Oh, that sounds so cool. Yeah. Well played. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Night night, pretty purple flower. Thank you. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night or the rest of your day, depending on your time zone. And I'll catch you guys on the next stream. We're actually gonna be talking about this in Spanish on Monday. So yeah, if you guys missed parts of the story or the history, it'll be available in Spanish as well. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Fish! Alright, I will catch you guys on the next stream. Bye bye! Mwah!